Hello, YouTube. How the hell are ya? This is Around the Sticks with your host, IconicBelow. How the hell you doing, guys? It is a Wednesday. This should be going up on Thursday. And how the hell have you all been? I apologize for my long absence, but not really much has happened. Today we will be going over the Pro League restart. A few things that have been going on, along with some Black Ops 3, and I have a nice little thing I'd like to add into the end, where I went through and ranked every single player that is on a league team right now, and some notable either AMs or pros that are not on pro teams. But first, let's go over the Pro League after the restart. Optic Gaming is at a 3-0 start. Envy 2-1, FaZe 2-1 as well, followed up by Isolation, Denial, and Elevate all in a tie for second place. Then there is 7th through 11th, which is Optic Nation, TCM, Orbit, Epsilon, TK, and then followed up in 12th by not even winning a game yet, Rise Nation. Now, there has been a few trades going on. Moose has left TCM. This is possible for, obviously, the addition of Watson possibly going in as a sub, and Fears joining the starting lineup, which were both quite nice, and Killa and Nelson has joined Fizzerp on XGN. Now, let's start breaking down what has been going on in Black Ops 3. There has been quite a few things. The beta has started. Now, there is a few things that I would like to say just to get it out of the way. Obviously, Black Ops 3 is back and better than ever. We have seen a few competitive matches on LAN on the game already. So, first I'd like to start out with my picks and bans and tell you exactly what I think about it, give you some instances where it can create diversity and completely shit on it depending on who you're talking about and what is actually going to happen. Now, picks and bans are exactly what I was asking for during Ghost, exactly what I have been asking for since I started this podcast on AW. You guys all should know this. I expected this to have started way before this, but now we are getting the developer support we've wanted. So please, please do not complain and demand things right yet. We do not know what is exactly going to be in the pick and ban system right now. Everything is dropped into there as said by Merc, so make sure that you guys know exactly what you're talking about before you say anything else. Now, the pick and ban system will create diversity as long as there is not gentleman agreements. We have to start shitting on gentleman agreements. If we do not start shitting on them, they will run everything, and we will be seeing the same two guns every single match, every single time. Now, I'm going to use one Black Ops 2 reference, just so that way you guys understand where I'm coming from, and then we will switch into an Advanced Warfare reference to show you exactly what I feel will happen in all of the picks and bans. Now, we're going to use Complexity versus Optic Gaming. Now, Complexity obviously is going to start out with Clay. Just use him for example. He is going to probably protect the FAL because that's his favorite gun. Good choice. Next is going to probably be Scump. He's probably going to ban the MSMC. It sounds stupid for me to say that, but he loves the Scorpion quite a bit more. And then that also fucks up Karma. Not Karma. That fucks up Crim. And that fucks up TP. Which is a better idea. Especially when you have Nade who can run quite a few more guns than just one SMG. Now, the next thing that could be banned. Aches could go and protect stock or ban stock or quick draw. And those are really kind of the second tier things that you're going to look at. You're going to look at things like stock, maybe an SMG or an AR to balance out what you think you're going to need against this team. Maybe even grenades, if you really think about it. Maybe things like EMPs, stuns, flashes. Those are going to be that second tier thing. Third tier is probably going to end up being your specialist bans, your not perks. Yeah, you probably could throw some perks in there, and probably kill streaks is going to be somewhere in there. And then your fourth one's going to be your shitty ban, like let's make sure UAV's banned, let's make sure thermal sight's banned. That's going to be your shitty thing where you're like, I don't want to deal with this specific thing. And you know either the other team's going to end up protecting it or whatever. So let's continue on with the example. If Aches protects quick draw, that's going to bring up nade shot, and he's going to protect tac mask because that's a more important perk. They're going to want it kept. Now that brings up TP. He's going to ban the Scorpion, which screws up Scump just a little bit. So now Scump has to use a different SMG, or he has to switch to the M8. Now that would bring up Big T. Big T is going to go out of his way and protect the M8. Even though there is only one person left, you want to make sure you have the gun that you need to use, especially with Scump getting fucked over. It's going to create a little bit more diversity. Then it's going to go to Crim6. Crim6 is probably going to end up banning EMP grenades, maybe stun grenades, maybe throw in flak jacket. That would be better. Maybe throw in some more frags. It all depends on what the other team is actually going to run. You're going to end up knowing more about the other teams, and you're going to have to know more about the other teams, just that way you can pick and ban correctly. And then Merc probably would end up rounding that out with banning, possibly, if they're going to ban flak jacket, ban Semtex or frags. Maybe that would be a good pick, just that way you don't have to worry about carrying them. This is going to create more class diversity. Obviously, we saw with Advanced Warfare, many people are picking 3 attachments for their gun and their 1 gun. That's already 4 slots used up. Then they have 5 or 6 perks, and that pretty much finishes out their class. They throw on an EXO, and they throw on two stuns, and that's the class. They're done right there. Sometimes they use 4 perks, sometimes they use 5. It all really kind of depends on the map and who you're exactly looking at. Now, the reason that it was pick 13 is because of the kill streaks. Sledgehammer wanted you to use kill streaks and wanted you to be able to even use 4 kill streaks if you really wanted to. It was a great idea, I felt, at least, because you could customize them. You could use exactly what you wanted. The reason why that would have been so great and competitive is you could have stuck it out with a shitty assault drone with just rockets, or you could stuck it out with a shitty assault drone that's like a hunter killer. But nobody really used it for what it was worth, and MLG didn't really want to go complex and be like, okay, we're banning the stuns being used, or 2 points need to be used towards kill streaks. What they could have done, truthfully, is made it a pick 10 system with 3 streaks. That's personally what I asked for a couple shows ago. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, especially when we were dealing with all the gentleman agreements. Now, that's the thing where I wanted to bring Advanced Warfare in. Now, we've had the same meta pretty much the entire game. Either 4 Bells, 4 ASM1s, or a mixture of the 2. We haven't really seen many other guns. We've seen players like Aqua, Fizzerp, and a few other players bring out things like the Ameli, the EPM3, a few other guns like that. We haven't really seen things like the MP11, which is actually competitively viable, just nobody really uses it. We haven't seen things like the IMR in a very long time. We haven't seen things like the TAC-19, just because of gentleman agreements. Now, let's look at a team like FaZe and a team like Parasite's team, Epsilon. 2 very unmatched teams, but obviously let's look at exactly what they're going to use. Clay is obviously going to be the first pick from FaZe. Now, FaZe can go one of two ways. They can protect the Bell, they can protect the ASM1, or they can go ballsy and ban the IMR. Banning the IMR is going to weaken players like Nagafen and Parasite. Good choice, possibly. So, banning the IMR from FaZe. Clayster, that's a good choice by him. Now, Parasite comes next. We're playing Hardpoint. So, Parasite protects Overkill. That means that his entire team can run shotguns, use a few cheeky things, just to get an advantage on the other team. That is something great that a lot of teams don't do. They don't counter team. They're not like, oh, they're going to run 2 and 2, so let's run 4. Let's run 4 ARs and make their SMGs push us, and we'll slay them out as they come towards us. Or let's run 4 ASM1s or 4 MP11s or 2 MP11s, 2 ASM1s, and push like crazy. What a lot of people don't see is the MP11 is a lot like the Scorpion Evo from Black Ops 2, along with the IMR being a lot like the M8. These things don't change on LAN. Obviously, we have people like Fox the Don saying there's no such thing as a LAN gun. There's no real difference between the gun's performance. The only real difference is really kind of the hit reg and host advantage and things like that, and that's only a few milliseconds here and there. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, saying, oh, that's a LAN gun, or that's a online gun. Now let's keep breaking down the picks and ban system. Next would probably end up being Zuma. Zuma is going to protect his SMG, so he's probably going to protect the ASM1. Just that way he's able to be as overly aggressive as he's possibly able to be. And then you look at a player like Remy, who's going to want possibly trophy system, maybe protect trophy. Next comes up Attach. Attach wants to ban overclock, maybe, just so that way game slows down a little bit, he can attack more. Him and Zuma would be able to work better as a team, just because the game is just that much slower. The game being that much slower definitely helps both of them, because they're able to play out of their mind. So it really starts to create, what do you want to do? Do you want to counter team them, or do you want to play to your strengths? Now, this also creates players like Fizzerp, Aqua, players like that, really, really high up in ratings, just because they are so diverse. Now, many people are going to complain saying Fizzerp's diverse. He just uses weird things and gets accomplishments with them. But obviously, we saw in Ghost him using the FP6, I believe it was called, the shotgun that he used on Sovereign and everything else in Search and Destroy, and even a little bit in objective game types. It worked, and the reason it worked is because it was different, and a lot of guns are viable, especially if you look at them, but a lot of people don't look at everything before they make their choice, and that's the major point that a lot of people don't understand. Now, what I'm going to say is the pick and ban system is exactly what we needed. But I feel like a few changes can be made. Definitely, we are going to have to pick the first higher seed. Either gets map choice, mode choice, or possibly even pick and ban choice first. Maybe 2 of those, and then the lower seed gets the other one. It would be really kind of cool to see Hardpoint and Uplink switch off. Maybe if one team is better at Uplink, choose 2 Uplinks. It would be kind of cool to see Hardpoint as that third map. It's definitely more of a deciding game type because it's not as fast paced and can be a little bit more controlled. But it would be kind of cool to see that. There have been some changes to Hardpoint. Hardpoint is no longer the Killslayer heavy game. It is 250 points, a lot like headquarters was back in the day. If you're not on the headquarters, well, not headquarters anymore, but not on the hard point, the clock starts to tick. The clock freezes every time there's somebody on the hard point. So you're either going to finish the game one way or the other, but it makes it so that way the game will not end in a mathematical victory. You're not going to get the 250 to 50. Well, you could, but the people aren't going to be like, well, we're out of it. We could get a 35-minute hardpoint game. Both teams going 250 to 249. It could happen. We don't know exactly what's going to happen with watching this. It could end up being really slow. It could end up being really fast. We don't exactly know. There is one thing I would like to talk about. I want to see a little bit more uplink, just because of how fast AW's played and how enjoying uplink actually is. Many people are going to be a little bit confused with it going into Black Ops 3 with how much slower the game is. So watching that is going to create just a little bit more unrest. Obviously, if uplink doesn't work, we have game types like demolition, which would be amazing to bring back, especially with S&D still being in the rotation, and games like Counter-Strike getting so big. Bomb games obviously are the selling ticket here. We saw it with Search and Destroy, obviously in COD and everything else. It could be really quite nice to add in a game like Demolition, where it's mostly spawn trapping and spawn controlling, and if this team can get a kill, get a right grenade throw. And that's really where the pick and ban system comes in, because it's spawn control. So if you're not able to get the right gun, you're not able to get the right specialist like the Scythe on the Reaper, it's not going to effectively counterbalance the teams. So it'll be really kind of cool to see exactly how these teams work out. So those are all the big changes I saw. The few things that I've seen from the beta so far is the Razorback is going to be the SMG that everybody uses, I feel, at least in pubs. I'm not exactly sure about competitive, but as far as what I saw, the Razorback is the gun everybody's been using, and the Kuda has been thrown in there every now and then. The ARs is where it's at, though. There's been 3 or 4 that have been run around, and everybody's been using. We have the Man-O-War, which is a lot like the SCAR, the ARK, which is a lot like the AK, and then you have things like the M8, which came back, and we could also see guns like the Shiva, which is a lot like the FAL. We're going to have to pay attention a lot to how these guns are balanced and what people want to use. We don't want to play to their strengths. We want to play to our strengths. If our Shiva player is better than their M8 player, you got to play to it. And you got to outplay everybody else. So that's exactly what I wanted to say about Black Ops 3. Now, I would like to see exactly what your guys' opinion is on a ranking system, not only for us to be able to rank the players and give them a number value saying this player is this good at. The categories I broke them down to was hardpoint, how good they are playing the hardpoint, playing for kills, things like that, uplink, search and destroy, teamwork, and knowledge. Now, I counted knowledge, I believe, twice. The reason I counted knowledge twice is because their knowledge of the game, especially because that will include things like being able to use multiple guns, being able to control your engagements, being able to completely outthink your opponent, is going to be really rated high in that category. And I feel like that overall should be rated higher than anything else, especially over teamwork and everything else. And it brings other players up to what level they should be. Now, this is going to be the 5 teams going through. Well, all 12 teams going through. Number 1 obviously is going to be Optic, which is Scump at a 92, Crim at a 93, Karma at an 86, Formal at a 91. The reason Karma is rated so much lower than everybody else is he has a shitty teamwork rating. If he gets pissed off or he gets really, really angry, he's going to shut down. And that's not what you really want. He ended up getting a 74 in teamwork. Now, he obviously he can be a little bit better than that. He can be quite a bit worse than that. But that's about where his average should be. Now, Optics overall rating is a 91. That, to me, is really quite nice, especially with how that team works. Now, there were a few moves, so these aren't as updated as I would like them to be. I did them a little while ago, but the numbers are going to be about where they should be. Now, next up is number 2, Denial. Denial is Huke at an 89, Temp at an 89, Slasher at a 90, and Replays at an 88. That gives them an overall of 89. Number 3 is Phase at an 88.75, and that gives them Enable at an 89. Clayster at a 95, being the highest ranked player in all of the game. Zuma at an 86, and Attach at an 85. Next up is number 4. Elevate at an 87.25, which is TJ at an 89, being their highest ranked player. Slacked 87. Classic 86, just because of inconsistencies. And Saint 87. His teamwork is obviously lower than a lot of people's because he cannot travel out of the country. That is his problem, not the team's. So it's going to tread on his teamwork rating quite a bit and bring him down just to even it out a little bit more. It makes a little bit more sense. It gives him a shittier teamwork grade. Next up is number 5, Orbit. The reason I had this team so much higher is because of Burns. I feel like he is definitely was the playmaker on this team, and he was ranked at an 88, but he was traded with TCM, who was ranked, in my opinion, at an 83. I guess I didn't get to watch a lot of film on him, so I guess he is a little bit higher than that. And the rest of that team is Accuracy at an 83, Happy at an 89. He's a great overall slayer. And then Facento, who is a great leader and teamwork-oriented player, at a 90. I might overrate him just a little bit. You guys can definitely give me your opinion down in the comments. And their team, that brings them to about an 87. Number 6 is TK at an 87 as well, and their team is Neslo at an 86, Nameless at an 87, Sharp at an 88, and Theory at an 88. This season, I feel like I overrated this team just a little bit, just because of Sharp and Theory being 88s. They were standing out in Season 2, but now all of a sudden it seems like they're shitting the bed a little bit. It's a little bit confusing, so that's a little bit out there. Next up is Envy at an 87. That is Looney at an 85, Aqua at an 87, JCap at an 88 for his overall play, and Octane at an 88. Next up is Epsilon at an 86, which is Royalty at an 85, Remy at an 87, Nagafen at an 85, and then Parasite at an 88. They did have Swanee, who was a 91, which brought them up to 87. So that definitely brought them up quite a bit. Next up is TCM at an 86.5, which is Jerd at an 86, Aches at an 87, Moose at an 86, and TP at an 87. But Moose was just dropped, obviously, so that team is going to go down just a little bit. Fears is a little bit different of a player, and I personally did not rank him because I did not expect him to start. Next up is ISO, which personally is an incomplete team because I did not get enough data on Silly, so I could not personally rank him, but I ranked Dido an 85, Llama an 82, Havoc an 87, and they had around an 85 ranking. Next up is ON, which are at an 84.75. They had Miracles, who's at an 85, Embos, who's at an 80, Mochila, who's at an 87, and Ricky, who is at an 87. And last up is Rise, who has Apathy at an 83, shitty teamwork grade. He doesn't really talk all that much if you listen to their comms, so that's why he's rated so lowly. Chino, who's really started to slack in hardpoint, although he is the hardpoint god supposedly. Wheats, who's at an 85, and then Burns, who I feel is at a 88, who is probably one of the better hardpoint players in all of the league. And that brings them to about an 85 or so, just redoing the math. So I would like to get your guys' opinion on my rating system. If you guys want, I can post a thread on Reddit for all of the stats and everything else I compiled and put together. I just want to get your guys' opinion on it, if this is actually acceptable for Call of Duty. I used like a Madden rating system where it's in between 1 and 100, obviously 1 being the shittiest player in the game and 100 being the best player ever. So I tried to kind of stick in between 60 and about 95. Just that way, it's that baseline. You don't want to give yourself too many outliers either way. So that is what I did there. Now, I would like to bring this out. It is 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm losing my train of thought. So as always, guys, there's a link down in the description if you guys would like to donate. Any little bit would be appreciated. That helps us with costs to be able to record again and things like that. It would be really great to have a better computer to not only host this show better, but possibly give you guys gameplay or webcam footage in the background of me talking to you guys like the senseless idiot I am right now. And there is also going to be a link down in the description to go to Cinch Gaming. They help us power this podcast with giving us the code ICONIC, giving us 5% off all of their lovely products. And as always, guys, leave your opinions of everything we talked about down in the description down in the comment section below. Give it a like rating if you really enjoyed it. And if you would like to see more content from me, we give out history lessons and Call of Duty commentaries, as well as a few other things. Make sure to click the subscribe button. And as always, guys, this has been your chill boy, IconicBelow. See ya fucking later. Peace out.